We're going to talk about two types of variables. We're going to talk about discrete versus continuous variables. So continuous variables can take on any value in a range. Can take on in a range. And discrete basically is not continuous. So in other words, can only take on some values in a range. Okay, let's do an example with that. So for example, let's say I want to know what the weight of a hippo was. I don't actually have any idea what the weight of a hippo is. But let's say well, again, I don't actually know what realistically is. But let's say theoretically that we think that it's between, let's say the lightest hippo weighs about 2,000 pounds and the heaviest hippo weighs about 7,000 pounds. And so the weight of the hippo, the weight of the hippo can't be 1 pound and it can't be 10 million pounds. However, could it be any value within a range? So let's pick a very arbitrary value in the range. So let's say we're going to take this number, which is 2,837.1643. Maybe I should make this kilograms so that it's more Canadian metric. Again, I don't know if that's true, but so assuming that hippos could weigh between 2,000 and 7,000 kilograms, could a hippo weigh 2,837.1643? And the answer is yes, it can. And in fact, it could take on any value within a range. There's no value that I could write between 2,000 and 7,000. That doesn't make sense. So we're going to say that the weight of the hippo is a continuous. It's going to be a continuous variable. Now conversely, let's say we have a bunch of hippos roaming around in a sanctuary. And depending on births and deaths and poaching and whatnot, maybe there is between 10 and 300 hippos in the sanctuary. All right, so once again, I'm going to pick a kind of middle value. So let's say, could there be 79.23176 hippos? And it can't. So hippos are not, you can't have any number between 10 and 300. It's got to be, in this case, it's got to be whole numbers. But that's not necessarily a requirement, but it can't take on every value within the range. So we're going to call this one discrete. The numbers of hippo in sanctuary are going to be discrete. So let's do some examples. So discrete or continuous. So we'll say distance run in an hour. Number of students in class. Successful high jumps, maybe after like 17 attempts or something like that. Time it takes to make a video, much longer than it should. Number of hairs on my head. Which is not actually 0 yet. Okay, so I want to know which of these are discrete and which of these are, we could do height of my legs here. Height of longest hair. So I can brush it over and look cool. So distance run in an hour. Could it be any number within a range? So remember, I'm not running a whole marathon in an hour. But let's say I could say that I'm going to run between 5 and 6 kilometers. There's no number within that range that's not reasonable. 5.13264 is reasonable, so this would be continuous. Number of students in class, let's say it's between 1 and 40. I can't have 7.32 students. That doesn't make sense. This one is discrete. Successful high jumps, maybe in a competition I could do between 0 and 17. I can't have 4.3 high jumps. This is discrete. Time it takes to make a video. Time doesn't have a thing. That's continuous. Number of hairs on my head is discrete. You can't have 0.23 of a hair or something, so that's going to be discrete. And the height of the longest hair would be continuous, because within a range, it could be anything you want it to be.